Hello guys, it's Peter from PS Sound, and this is another short explain type of video to show a beautiful system that's been coming together in the last 2 years. How long has it been since you started it, Mark?
Yeah, it'll be 2 years.
2 years probably. And you went through many stages. You had mid-bass in these beautiful doors first, right?
Yes.
Oh, the worst possible location for a mid-bass at the back of the door. Not ideal, especially if you... No, in any case, it doesn't matter what you use that for. No, it's not. Then you had A-pillars for mid and tweets, kicks on the seats, all sorts of things. But we will go through what's happening in this car, because it's definitely worth seeing this system. Let's go to the boot. Some of you might have seen it before because we feature this car in the Patreon giveaway videos.
Yes.
I think now twice. Last year and this year as well. Last year you had the Zapco amplifiers in here, didn't you?
Yeah, the
at that
Zapco
time.
STs.
And then now Mark wanted to just step up a bit without going crazy. And he wanted to keep the layout. So he went with these DLS amps. These are the signature line. Yes. So you have a monoblock there, which runs the sub.
That's correct, yeah.
Now he has an FI18 running in true IB through the floor. We will talk about that a bit later. And then there's an S4 running, that's running now the mid and tweet.
Mid and tweet, yeah.
This one now runs rear feel and kicks.
Yes.
And then that one is bridge currently for the under seat 8-inch drivers.
Correct, yeah.
Correct. Now I remember. And then we are expecting another Fortuner amplifier coming that will then run shakers, things like that, just to have a bit of fun. Did you have one each side or just on your side?
No, it's on each seat.
Yeah, and I remember that in your seat, yeah, it transfers really well. It really shakes, like, yeah.
That's something.
It's something for the fun. Yeah, you got a bit of inspiration from the Honda, I can see that. So the build was built by Steve, one of our team members. You could see his project as well on YouTube. That red Mark 6 Golf with the stereo integrity, 24-inch in true IB, and crazy dash build with the hybrid audio X6, Mundorf tweeter and all that. So he does installs to some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do that much these days.
No,
but who
just
knows?
a few.
But who knows, he might come back and do more. But he's done most of it, and of course Mark had a fair amount of work in this to this stage. Lights currently don't work, but they have crazy RGB lights, really fancy lights. And then, oh, we have to show this. How does the display come on? It doesn't come on, because it was lit as well before.
Yeah, it comes on when it's been used.
I see. So now, can I show? There you go. So now it shows that we are having 59% left from the 100 amp hour, and it's still sitting at 13.1 volt. So he has a huge lithium 100 amp hour battery there right now, because before you had a Stinger.
Yeah, AGM.
And obviously an AGM, even if it's fully charged, it floats at 12.7, 12.8. To the time it starts to lose, voltage drops quick, and the storage wasn't quite as big as this. But this is charged with a DC-DC
Correct, yeah.
charger the same way. How much limitation do you have on it?
It's a 30 amp.
Same way like Tony's ST500 then?
Yeah.
That's the safest way to do it, guys, but in my Honda I had it linked to the front AGM, and it's been fine as well that way. But you just want to make sure that you keep your eye on the voltage and you top it up with a proper charger once or twice a month, because these smart chargers these days don't charge so well. However, this seems to do really well so far for you.
Yeah, it's been working well. It's only been in a week.
Yeah, so you have to tidy up and few
so I've just got to
sort of
tidy a
few
few
little
bits up.
things. Yeah. So up front, let's go up front. We have rear fill in the rear doors as well, but there's not much we can say about that. What's in there?
They are the focal VW replacements, all in OEM locations.
Okay. So, yeah, factory location, terrible. That was easy to figure out 2 years ago. And that's when Steve was already in the position that he had a decent system. He understood it pretty well, what was required to have a good system. And we had few words, and then he went ahead and he did his crazy stuff. So I think, yeah, he did these kicks first time, right?
Yes.
Because it was obvious that mid bass in the door is just not going to work, especially from that location. It wasn't tight. He had many problems with the response, big nose and cancellations in the intended range where the mid bass should play in freeway, and he just wasn't doing much. So he could see that he could build nice little sealed enclosures which go down, but this covers it now, go down all the way there. So that side is decent, and even that side is pretty okay size. And you ended up using the AudiblePhysics 6.25s,
Yes.
which were in Steve's car at some point. And yeah, that was funny. We were talking about it yesterday, that I sold these drivers to you without letting him know.
Good, right, yeah.
He was a bit surprised when you turned up, Steve, I'm taking those. Oh. But those drivers were great when we had access to them. They were cheap. We had it in the Audi TT as well, and they were great. People overlooked them because they were like 40 watt RMS, and oh yeah, that's not enough. In this car,
They work really well.
it kicks crazy. The good thing with them that their TLensMO parameters are pretty flexible. They also allow for a sealed application. They don't necessarily need huge airspace like in a door or in true IB. So they work well in these enclosures. And then yesterday, after fiddling a fair bit to figure out why they were buzzing, that's the thing. With mid bass, you don't want any buzz, any rattle, whether it comes from the driver or the install or the car. As soon as you hear any buzz, you play a quieter recording with, let's say, a double bass. When they pull the string, you only want to hear the musical note coming from the speakers, nothing else. And even last year we noticed that something wasn't right, something was buzzing on these speakers, and we didn't really go deep into it. Well, I wasn't in the position because we didn't see each other too often, and then Steve was doing his thing on your car too.
Yeah.
And as every build, it needs time to test and figure out what's happening. And yesterday, after a fair bit of testing, we figured out that the drivers were simply not sealing perfectly to the baffle, because they had no gasket underneath the basket. And you would think that if the cutout is trimmed with vinyl, that should be good enough.
Yeah,
But it wasn't. So as soon as we put sufficient gasket behind the basket and bolted them back in, tightened the bolts, the gasket squashed, gone. All the buzz and everything is gone. It was leaking. It was leaking to the point that you could hear it quite often. But these kicks now went back after half a year or so,
yes.
because originally Mark had pillar with 3-inch AudiblePhysics. No, you had the RG100,
No, the
The NZ.
NZ3s
the NZ freeze. So he had the NZ.
and the Brahma T1s.
Yep. With these first,
That's
but then
right,
when
yeah.
the FI went into the back, we have topics about it on Patreon as well, when we talk about if it's possible to integrate a true IB rear sub to the front without a front sub. But it's simple. No, you cannot. It was obvious for him as well that it's just not possible to integrate to these 6.5s, which work beautifully, but expecting them to have authority between 40 and 70, that's not realistic. Above 60-70 Hz they play beautiful, but they don't have that extra range and level to be able to play them, down that low with an 18 at the back. So in the last half year you were experimenting, and then now I'm gonna pull the seat back. Oh, look at that. And then we will show what's here. Well, a bit of dust, but that's okay. So Mark also had these AudiblePhysics SK8s, which was their first 8-inch driver,
Yeah, I
and
think so.
they haven't done anything more since. But the specs look good for IB applications, so these play through the floor. with protection underneath, and then also a bit of speaker cloth around the driver so the dust doesn't go in. But it was not quite perfectly integrating to 4-inch mids on the dash when that happened. So those are the MSS 3s from Steg. We've had them now in quite many cars, and those 4-inch mids play beautiful. They have authority down low as well. They are more confident to play below 200 Hz, and funnily they can run pretty wideband too. That wasn't expected. It wasn't supposed to be a wideband speaker, but I demonstrated them in the Honda as well last year, and even at the beginning of this year it was still working. And whenever I played those drivers tweeterless, they were like, what?
That's what made my mind up listening to them in the Honda.
They were just nice. They were really nice, and for the money, the value is fantastic. Not everyone needs Accuton mids. Now we know, and these work beautiful. So yes, that was a 4-inch, and you were hoping that you would be able to integrate to these, but it wasn't quite right. And I told to Mark that we definitely need those back. Then that way we have a freeway front end, and then these under seats can fill the little gap between the rear sub and the kicks. And now the system, after it was tuned, it just pulls together really well. Finally, because the last time we tuned it without the kicks, only with the under seats, late night in the car park. Yeah, and we managed to do something, but the system was lacking in the lower mid-range. It didn't have the body, it didn't have the right tonal character for the lower mid-range and the upper bass, and that way the system just overall, even if it measured correct, it sounded a bit cold. It wasn't warming up.
Yeah, some bits missing.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a difference between one measurement that may read very good and then another one, but you really have to hear what it sounds like as well. So I convinced you to put those back, and you were lucky that you had the kick builds, because some people would throw them away. And then now, yes, it's a bit more complex, but I'm not afraid of any of that to tune it. But yesterday we spent, I got in the car, and I think I haven't moved, well, I didn't move for 5 hours.
No.
I was just like a machine to get the best out of the system, because those tweeters are from my Honda. Gone from the Honda. Yeah, at least they do exactly what I expect from those tweeters in this car too. Having said that, I told to Mark that Steve did a good job, but I would rebuild these pillars just simply because of the cosmetics. He created a shape that's difficult to trim, and then the material, was difficult to pull over them. So yeah, maybe one day we chop some new pillars and make something pretty.
Yeah.
That would definitely finish the system off, because this system now sounds so beautiful, it deserves to look good too. Here you have a camwood head unit now with fancy display. So that runs on optical, or what does it run? An RCA.
Analog, RCA. Okay.
And then you have also a DAP that you usually use for streaming, which is a nice and big chunky Fiio, what is it, M11 limited?
M11 plus limited.
Plus limited, come on, focus. Yeah, that's a nice chunky DAP. So you have a lot of music loaded onto it, onto SD cards, all sorts of things. That's actually my demo list. It's one of the PS sound. There you go. I have a lot of measurement, EMO competition, RTA files, and all sorts of things there. Plus you can run Tidal from it too. Oh, come on, my finger doesn't sense it. So yeah, we have the Helix Ultra at the back. We didn't show that because that's underneath the panel. And the director running the system with the additional HD Bluetooth module, so we can connect this wirelessly too. But you have the coax cable in the car too.
Yes.
Should you want to have wired connection or compare.
Yeah, we're just hopefully sorting out a bracket so I can then mount it where I need to go.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, you also have a bass remote control. That was for the
That's for the
shakers.
shakers, yeah.
Yeah, fun time. So that's Mark's simple. It's not that simple for most people, but you really have to sit in it. It comes to many things we have. It's advised, highly advised, to jump in this car and listen to it, because it does stunning things.
Everyone is welcome.
Finally now it really pulled together, because before I tuned this car so many times in so many different ways and something was just never quite happening. We still know what we need to improve. We still have plans and we will look into things. But I think this freeway can stay. We don't have to bother fiddling with this, upgrade anything on that. There's no point to buy more expensive speakers for that, because that just works beautifully. Location is perfect, application is right, it's tuned well. That's it, that's all you need. Those work fantastic. So we will just have to look into the under-seat solution. That's pretty much it. Not that they don't work well, they work great. But in order to have better integration to the rear 18, we may need large drivers or something a bit more capable to play a bit lower down. You can learn more about it, and this is the part when I'm going to talk about Patreon. I have to because many people still don't know. We've been running the Patreon channel for 2 years now, now with more than 250 members, and there's a lot that you can learn there. We have weekly topics, daily updates, we have RTA sessions where this car will be evaluated as well, and then you can see how the speakers work, how these play, and measure how I pull the system together to make it a system instead of just many speakers making noise.
Without the Patreon, I wouldn't have learned the things that I have learned over the last year.
Yeah.
It's helped me a lot.
It gives you a lot of knowledge and understanding.
Yeah.
And you won't even think about dishing out money on things that you really don't need.
No, it kind of helps you realise what you should be doing and when you should be doing it and how. Installation is the key, and tuning.
Yeah. In your system, some people may feel like, oh, there's just no synergy. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 different type of drivers, 4 different brands of speakers. I had the same in the Honda for so many years. Nobody cared when they listened to it.
It works. It's beautiful.
That's dirt cheap. The under seat is cheap. That's not expensive either. That's the only thing that's expensive. However, you got that from me secondhand, so it was cheaper. It was still costing more than the rest of the 3 pairs.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with the tweeter. I always tell to people, if you want to build a high-end system, the most money you want to spend on when it comes to speakers is your tweeter. The tweeter has to be the most refined part, and that's something that you can't just change with a different installation. It's not going to make such a big difference as installation for mid, or especially for a mid bass. For mid bass, installation is everything, especially the location. For a tweeter, you could put it in the sail panel, on the pillar, to many different locations, and it's not going to make such a huge difference in terms of tonality. Technically, in terms of staging and whatnot, yes, it can make a difference, but in terms of tonality, yeah, driver quality is everything.
It adds that.
Yeah.
That edge.
And then these tweeters can do some crazy stuff. They are not super tweeters. To be fair, they don't even need super tweeters. But what they can do in the lower range, and I demonstrated that in my Honda as well when I was having the retirement video in the summer, whatever I called it. And I had a demo video in that explaining what these tweeters are capable of, and I was playing them, just on their own. They sound like they play everything down to the kick drums. You can hear the kick drums from them, and then you hear all the harmonics of instruments pretty much from a single driver. Yes, they can play low without being fatigued or harsh or anything. They can be, without tuning, they can kill you. They can kill you easier than anything else, because they are really revealing. and dynamic, transient, and all the usual and beautiful words I can use to describe sound. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, I don't know what I would replace that with. Not many things. Mundorf is another favorite, but that can look awkward in many cars. Steve has those as well, and for the money they are freaking awesome. But if people like something slightly different, like a softer presentation of the top end, then there are many options. Soft dome tweeters which sound great, from Micro Precision, Brex, just to name some. There are many drivers, but these are special still. Alright, I don't know if I can tell anything more about this system. We may have a separate little demo thingy-lingy to show how it plays. Otherwise, hopefully you find this video useful, guys. Check out the description for the links, as I mentioned earlier, and then we will see you probably when we have updates in this. Who knows when? In half year time.
There'll be some more.
But we have a direction now set. We know what needs to be done. But now it's in a very good position that you don't have to feel like, oh shit, I have to change this, that, whatnot. Now this is working finally. You just have to enjoy it. So here we are. Hopefully you liked it, guys. Feel free to share it, comment, do all the usual things, and then we will see you in the next one. Take care.